I've always had some anxiety. I definitely deal with anxiety. I would consider myself an anxious person. But RP has made me have social anxiety, because it's not that, like, if I'm to toot my own horn, I feel like I have great social skills. So like I can, walk around the room easy and talk to people. It's not really like, that's not my concern. With RP, it kind of took away all my confidence. Yeah. It's like, am I going to miss their handshake? Am I going to, someone comes up to try to talk to me, when I might have trouble finding where their face is. And then once I find their face, I'm good, because I can just lock in on it. But it's like, these awkward kind of body language issues, or maybe accidentally bumping shoulders or knocking a drink over. Yep. Those kind of things have caused me to have social anxiety. So now when I get invited somewhere where it's not like my tight inner circle, or if it's not just me and a close friend, or if I know there's new people I haven't met there and I'm going to have to introduce myself and talk to them, I'm almost like, is it worth the overanalyzation of it in my head that's going to happen?
No, I everything that you're saying is that it makes perfect sense. And it's actually, I completely identify with everything that you just said. It's exactly how I was. I saw myself as a very social person. Yeah. I was into things like martial arts, and, I liked going out, and, all of a sudden, disability has a habit of accentuating certain personality traits, and it has a habit of just completely slating the rest of them. Just the smallest thing, just going to a bar, is it worth going to a bar because I'm going to knock someone's shoulder, and then, they're going to be a fucking asshole about it. And, I don't even, sometimes I would get that for going to the store, or like going to a party like you're talking about, the normal social impulses to want to go see people are completely reined in because of, the fact that you have to make a calculated risk assessment of all these visible obstacles that you haven't yet run into. It's really, it's pretty awful, actually. And social anxiety, I think, is a completely reasonable byproduct of this.
Oh, 1,000%. And in a weird way, I almost get social anxiety from the fact, because now that I broadcast, RP out there, but having this podcast, but back in the day, like I kept it a secret like you did. I knew I had it from when I was 12, but I never told anyone until I was like 27. So I wouldn't tell employers. I wouldn't tell coworkers. I would only tell close friends and family. And then maybe like if a relationship started to get serious, I would tell my girlfriend at the time. But I was very selective on who I disclosed that information to. And part of that is kind of is something that's still lingering. There's like, even now that people know, now it's like a newfound social anxiety has shown up that I didn't expect to. It's all right. So I had this podcast. I talk about losing vision, but I can still see. And so now when I'm out with my friends, I'm like, I'm in my head thinking, do they think that I'm overreacting to my circumstances? Do they think I'm exaggerating my vision loss? Do they think, and it creates this weird kind of inner turmoil where it's like, all right, if I play this smooth and I walk slower, and let's say I have a good night with no hiccups, no shoulder checks, no spilt drinks, are they going to be like, oh, Lance, he's fine. He's fine. But it kind of like walking that line of like, how much do you talk about it, and how much do you disclose, and but you have to disclose it. But then once you disclose it, you're in your head about what are they thinking, that it's real or not.
I think your thoughts on this are like a photocopy of mine. Like I couldn't identify more with what you're saying. I mean, those were the same thoughts that were swimming with me, this entire time, the 6 or 7 years in the interim, and then especially the last 3 years or so, ever since things really got bad. When you start talking to people about this sort of thing, they honestly, it's kind of a litmus test for who's a good friend and who's not. To tell you the truth, I've kind of figured this one out. The fact of the matter is that, and I count myself among these people. Most of the world doesn't really understand blindness. They have a very pedestrian and frankly incorrect view on what blindness means. The fact is blindness exists on a spectrum. Mm-hmm. It's not as obvious as a lot of other disabilities are. You have, it's not binary. You have just with the retinal diseases alone, you've got retinitis pigmentosa, Stall's-Guards, Leber's, Usher syndrome. Yeah. I mean, you can have retinal strokes like Frank Bruni from the New York Times. Yeah. There's a wide variety of different types of blindness that can afflict you. And I read a statistic once that only about 7% of blind people are actually completely blind. Yeah. Most blind people can see something. But again, most people on the street don't know that.